Greetings, heroes and Force users. I won't say it, Alyssa.
Thank you.
I won't say it.
Thank you.
And welcome back to Inside the Tauntaun, a podcast in the multiverse of fandom. As always, I'm Dino Nicandros, and I'm joined by my very good friends, Alyssa Simmons.
Hello.
And Daniel Dawson.
Hello there.
And today we are talking about Marvel Studios' latest big screen offering, The Marvels, directed by Nia DaCosta, written by Nia DaCosta, Megan McDonnell, and Alyssa Karasik. And by God, we are Marvels fans.
I don't know who you are or where you came from.
I am Iron Man.
I thought they smelled bad. On the outside.
Smells like a new car in here.
Inside the Tauntaun, this is our opening song. Alyssa, Daniel, Dino, talking nerd stuff, come along. Inside the Tauntaun podcast, please like and subscribe.
Did you see what I did there?
Yes, thank you so much for not saying, well, of all ages, and also for saying Marvels fans.
We are very much for all ages. Everybody knows that. The kids love
not.
it. They listen
If Daniel was
all...
missing, we could be for all ages. But that's the only way.
Oh my god.
The Marvels.
The Marvels.
Yes. With an S. There's numerous.
That was a comic book movie. You
Yeah,
guys.
it was.
Well, tell
That
us
was
about
like-
that, Alyssa. What does that mean?
That means it really felt like a comic book was adapted, or many comic books were adapted into a movie, which
Full screen.
we haven't had in a long time.
Yeah.
We haven't,
Well,
not really. I
At least,
mean,
well, maybe not one that was done well.
sure. It's been a weird Marvel movie time.
Marvel movie time.
But
Yeah, I agree.
I will just say my general is that I had a really fun time, and
I sat
laughed.
right next to Alyssa.
yeah,
Did
It's
you have
true,
a good
you did.
time, Daniel?
I can confirm that there was giggles.
yeah. I ate
There were
nerds. I ate
giggles.
Nerds clusters, Reese's Pieces, popcorn,
Wow.
and
I had
that
to roll
was
her out of there.
delicious. Yeah, I just
now, do you put it all together? Do you mix
Oh,
it in
no,
the popcorn?
no. all separate.
Uh,
The Reese's Pieces I could mix in with the popcorn, but not the Nerds
really?
clusters. That feels wrong to me.
Did you guys ever
I would
get
agree with
poppycock
that.
for Christmas?
Yeah, I did it. Yeah, in 1894, I used to get poppycock.
My dad still gets us poppycock for Christmas.
Oh my
and-
gosh, really?
Absolute poppycock.
With a
Yeah.
side of fruitcake.
Yeah. yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
I had a really fun time watching this movie. It very much felt to me like the vibe of like the first 2 episodes of Miss Marvel, which I loved.
Oh, yeah.
And it was fun and fast paced, and I felt by the time the movie was over, I was like, "Oh, that was so quick!"
And it
I
was.
It's snappy.
yeah, I enjoyed myself. I felt like there was no excess fat in that movie. Like they really trimmed it down to
Everybody
like a
was really skinny.
super duper skinny. They've been going to
Mhm.
CrossFit for the whole year.
Good for them.
Yeah, that's my general fun time comic book movie. 2 thumbs up.
Daniel, you're shaking
Wait,
your
a
head
thumb
there.
and a mug. She's
I give
holding
it 1 thumb and a mug. 2 thumbs and a mug.
As I spill scalding hot tea on myself.
I give it a 3rd degree burn.
Worth it.
Daniel, you were nodding your head. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yes, I had a very good time. I was surprised at how. Grant, I do have to remind myself that, you know, my expectations were fairly low. I was going into it with, you know, and I for numerous reasons, because the first Marvel movie was kind of like, it was an okay film. It was an
Captain
okay
Marvel?
film for me.
Is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
The first Marvel movie.
The first
Man
Marvel
was just
movie
kind of-
ever.
Iron Man.
Yes.
Liked it okay.
It was fine. No. The first Captain Marvel movie was fine. It was a fine film. So I was expecting it to be like on the same road, or worse. Especially with what we've gotten in the past few years, in the MCU has been, a little lackluster. So I was setting my expectations pretty low, and that was probably for the best. Because
It's a good lesson, I think. Good lesson.
A good lesson to learn that the expectations were low, and I was able to just enjoy myself because the stakes were high, but in the overall MCU universe were fairly low. But we had fun. You know what I mean? That was the most important part, and it always is. I think, and it should be. Like, if we're not having fun, then what is even the point of telling us the story?
It's always about the friends we make along the way.
Yeah, yeah. Also, I will say that Kamala Khan, I'm on Milani, like
star of the movie.
1000% standout. Like, I was expecting to be annoyed by her for some reason. I don't know why, but
did you find her annoying on her TV show?
No, I didn't. I just thought that maybe, but because I kind of already I could smell what the vibe was going to be like where she was going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm in a Marvel movie kind of vibe. And that's what it was. But she played it off so well. And it was, I stand corrected. She was truly a standout by far, I think.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Dino?
It's interesting. I find Kamala Khan very annoying.
Okay. Just the character itself, the way it's written.
Yes, but that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a distaste for Kamala Khan or Iman Vellani at all. She's incredible. It's that character is designed to kind of get on everybody's nerves, but have the circle back around to having the quality of
poop.
Yes. Of being very genuine and
charming.
Yeah, charming. But I think it's effective when they make her so grating to begin with. And then
she just feels, because up until this point, particularly in the MCU, we haven't gotten a ton of young characters.
Yeah.
We've got Peter Parker, we've got Spider-Man,
Kate
in the
Bishop,
last
kind of.
Ant-Man movie, Cassie Lang, Kate Bishop.
It did kind of honestly give off Spider-Man vibes in Civil War, where he's just kind of like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy to be here," and that sort of thing,
and
being the voice of the audience, kind of almost.
for such a quick and a fast-paced movie, I think it does a good job of teaching her the lesson of you don't know everything.
Right. Yes. Oh, and also about her.
And when she's kind of hit in the face with that reality, that's when her performance goes up a level.
Totally.
This is real. This isn't me in my room drawing. Miss Marvel
particularly in that scene
Captain
where
Marvel.
they're having to rescue. They're evacuating the Skrull.
Oh, right. And they got to choose who they're going to save.
And
yeah.
For that moment, for sure, she was like, we can't leave people. And it's that sort of classic comic book, any sort of adventure hero story where it's they have to make tricky decisions in the moment. And sometimes it is about saving as many people as you can. And that's it,
Right.
So, I thought her performance was awesome.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you, Daniel. I think it was by far the best of the three, and all three are great. I really enjoy their chemistry, and
but it's also the chemistry of her family too. With
her family, her family.
The casting, her family is
excellent.
They were the MVPs of the Miss Marvel Disney Plus.
And maybe that's I think that also lends into why she was the favorite character for I think it sounds like for most people that have seen the film, that she just had the most to bounce off of in the movie.
For sure.
Monica doesn't really have much to bounce off of other than Brie and Nick Fury and Carol Danvers. But yeah, and also Carol Danvers, I think, still is struggling to find, you know, well, and she you know, she's still figuring out what her memories are. You know, she still has a shunted memory of what her past is. So, yeah, there's we're seeing glimmers of like more character depth. I think that I'm liking her character more than I used to. Does that sound
Yeah, no,
right?
Yeah, sure.
totally. Like I was saying, I appreciate their dynamic. I think Kamala is the most fleshed out at the moment, and part of that is we have the benefit of having
A TV show.
had a TV show. I would say Carol is second, and then
Monica.
Monica is still lacking to me from a like I know what drives her, and we know, you know, what happens with her mother during the blip and all of
Right.
that, and WandaVision did a great job of laying that groundwork for her. But I would say out of the three, I felt like I was missing an emotional attachment to
Yeah, that
to
checks
Monica.
out.
Right. Like, for instance, like when we saw her, well, there were two things that I found to be, the fact that I didn't feel super emotionally charged when she was like saying goodbye. But I think part of that is because I was just like, just like close the rift on the other side of the rift. So like, you don't have to be like separated from everybody. But I'm sure that they didn't really like describe of why she had to be on the, you know, the other.
Yeah, she just said she had to be, so
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
all right.
from the other side.
But to me, that felt like a little convenient writing, you know, because they're like, we gotta connect these universes somehow. This is going to be the way. But yeah, and also I just didn't feel like super emotionally. Because, well, maybe it's also just because I knew that she was going to come back at some point. Like, she's not gone; she's just, you know, in a different realm. Yeah, I agree with you, I guess.
But I mean, I love Tiana Paris in that.
Yeah,
she's a great
that role.
actor.
She's
I
well
think,
cast.
I think it has a little something to do with just the length of time that we've spent with her.
Yeah. Well, it's been a minute since WandaVision, so
Yeah, and even her role on WandaVision, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of time for her in particular to get more storyline.
Yeah,
because she was aiding in the story of,
Right.
you know.
She's always been, like a side character. But I think,
Yeah, but I think that I think obviously we're gonna be seeing more of her.
I was just about to say, I
yeah.
was like, now that she's connected with like her mom, but somebody that's not really her mom, like that dynamic, I'm very excited to see what that, because that you know, could be hilarious, dramatic, sad, all the above. That seems like a fun story that I'd like to see.
Yes,
and that we will see eventually,
and we will.
allegedly.
But yeah, I suppose to put a bow on my general thought. Great rapport between the three of them. I liked that it was short and to the point, as you both kind of said.
It also feels like it was made for us, like, because it had a like freaking musical number.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, you couldn't. That couldn't be more on brand for Inside the Tauntaun in particular.
Truly, yeah.
Oh man, I did enjoy that it didn't always work for me, but I did enjoy when they really just got silly
and let loose.
And it's better to go 180 miles an hour that direction than 70.
You're absolutely right, because that was a very bold move that could have easily not worked.
Well, there were several. I mean,
yeah, several. You're right.
Talking about several.
You're absolutely right. But yeah, like the moment with the musical planet, and then also like the cats moment.
Yes.
I just, those both could have been easily been like a roll your eyes and like, oh my God, can this movie end? But it was so funny. I laughed out loud.
But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed myself. I don't know if this is one I run back to
Watch
see,
again.
but
Sure.
I think some of the initial fears about it were proven incorrect. It's a
Mm.
it's a perfectly good entry. But ultimately, maybe that's kind of the problem they're facing right now is it was perfectly fine.
Right,
Mm.
which is not, and that's because they've set a fairly low precedent, unfortunately. And so we're all surprised that we got like an okay movie.
The 23 or 24 movies of the Infinity Saga, each one was kind of a must-see event.
Totally.
And there've certainly been those after the fact, but
Yeah.
after Endgame. But I like that.
I would say that I liked it better than well, yeah, I think I
Yeah,
would say
well,
I
let's
liked
look at it. Let's look at it in comparison to the last few movies that we've gotten.
I was just gonna
right.
say.
So we had Quantumania.
I think I liked it better than Quantumania. That's where I was getting
We had
to.
Quantumania, we had Thor: Love and Thunder, and we had Multiverse of Madness.
I may have
Those were
liked
the
it more
last
than
three.
most recent, yeah.
I think I may have liked it more than Love and Thunder too, honestly. I mean, for
Wakanda
You
Forever
hated
was
Love and
last one.
Thunder, so I hope you liked it better than that.
Yeah.
You didn't have
I
anything.
didn't hate it. I didn't say
You
I
didn't have
hated it.
anything nice to
Love
say
and
about
Thunder
it.
was not good.
Yeah,
What's that?
it was.
I wasn't on that episode, and it was not good.
Yeah, you weren't on that
Our
one.
episode was not good.
We had.
No, no.
Did we have Luke on with us?
Yes, that sounds.
I think
familiar.
we had somebody on.
But I
But-
don't remember like tearing it down completely. I knew that I had a lot of issues with it, but and it was probably one of my least favorite Thor films, which is saying a lot. That being said, I there were still enjoyable things.
Sure.
And Wakanda Forever was earlier last year as
Yes,
well.
Wakanda Forever technically is in that
Okay,
bunch.
So out of the most recent bunch, I'd probably put
Yeah, how would you rank it within those four?
I'd put Multiverse of Madness 1 for
Okay.
me.
First.
I'd put Wakanda Forever 2.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What were the other? Love and Thunder, and then what
Love
was
and Thunder,
that the
Quantumania.
Quantumania.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. So, Multiverse of Madness, Wakanda Forever, The Marvels, Quantumania, Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's totally
So
the
same
for
for
me.
you. I think it's different for me.
Oh my gosh, you're so wrong.
Well, tell us, will you?
Yeah, I can't wait to hear.
What's the correct order?
I think I'm gonna put Multiverse of Madness first,
Yeah.
then
that's
the
so different
Marvels,
so far.
then the Marvels,
Oh.
then Wakanda Forever,
Mm-hmm.
then Quantumania, then Thor,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Love and Thunder.
Definitely my favorite
So I
part
guess
of
it was
Thor,
just one switch from you two.
seeing Chris
second and the
Hemsworth's
third.
butt
Yeah.
made it mostly worth it.
Yeah. I think honestly, to be honest, I think Multiverse of Madness and Marvels might even be tied.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't need every Marvel thing to feel like it's ripped straight from a comic book, but it is really
Sure.
fun when it is.
Yeah. Oh,
Because that is
absolutely.
the origin and I felt like they chose really smart obscure comic books to pull from for this, which is fun. Obviously the whole musical island thing.
Is that? Do we know if that's from a comic book?
It is.
Oh my
Yes.
god, how wonderful! And like how interesting in a to see it in live action, because it feels like that would be the first place that you would see like a musical thing, because I mean, like, how can you convey that as well in a written book? I mean,
Yeah, it just feels different. They
Yeah.
use a different font to
Yeah, right.
indicate that it's sung. There are little music
Yes.
notes in front of it.
I don't know what this imagination using you talk about. What way is that?
Well, Alyssa, I mean,
I guess
out
I
of
would
the-
just have to describe what reading is to Daniel. So
what
How much
is
time do you
that
have?
exactly?
But Alyssa, you've read a fair amount of Marvel Captain Marvel comics.
A good amount, probably like
more than Daniel and I.
oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
easily.
Did
yeah,
you
because I've
did
read
you
0.
recognize anything from any plot points that were ripped from comics you've read?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing, which is really fun that we're going to get to explore this further, is her tie with Maria Rambeau,
Mhm.
and how in whatever iteration of Captain Marvel, Maria is there, whether she is actually Captain Marvel or, as we saw in the post credit scene, binary, one of the X-Men.
Right.
Which is also a super interesting character for them to pull in, because for a good portion of time, I read an X-Men run where Carol Danvers is working with the X-Men. She gets all of her powers drained from her, and then she becomes binary.
Ooh.
So, interesting character for them to pull in there. There was even the scene in this movie with Carol and Maria where she was like, it should have been you. You should have been the one there that day to become this. So that's super interesting.
But it is, it's interesting. I want to talk about that eventually. We can put a pin in it, but about like how different she would have been had she been the one, because she's technically a mutant.
Yeah.
But well, I don't know if they've really settled this in stone or not yet, but Carol Danvers is not a mutant.
She's not. No.
Yeah. So she just got the powers, but it had, Rambeau got it instead, it would be a whole different ball game.
Yeah. And we already know Kamala is one as well.
Yes.
Right.
That's been officially confirmed, and they're not dancing around it at all in the comics right now. I mean,
Really?
Yeah, Miss Marvel's new line is called like New Mutant Miss Marvel or something.
Cool.
Like it's like just really we're saying it straight out.
Cool.
New mutants calling me.
Well, that was a stretch.
First thing that came in my head, though.
Oh, I'm proud of you.
With the mutants of
something beginning.
Oh, jeez. But yeah,
people called it X-Men. I'm sorry.
Let's you want to just kind of go through and we can talk about some Easter eggy stuff, some stuff that obviously has implications for going forward. Shall we do that?
I know we kind of outlined it in our general thoughts, but what are before we get Easter eggy, what worked for you? Like, be it specific scenes, characters, pieces of dialogue, whatever. What worked for you, and then what
didn't?
What didn't land?
Okay, go ahead, Daniel.
All right. I think I already sort of stated what at least. I mean, it didn't work is a harsh thing, but I think it probably
didn't work as well, or
as well
wasn't
as they probably intended. Yeah, when the Monica Rambeau moment, her going to the other realm, to save our realm, or to save both, I guess, potentially.
Yes.
Yeah, so because I think that they didn't succeed in making me understand why she had to do that.
I suppose it would have just taken a single line of like, the light powers have to be reflecting off of the other side, and maybe it was a cut line or something.
Could be.
I don't know.
Could be.
I just went from A to C in my brain, but I understand why you wanted a little more. Something.
Because she did the whole like her entire vibe was like being super technical and saying things that made no sense and then saying it in layman's terms. Like she said that like 3 other times before that. I was just like, okay, well, explain it again.
Explain the physics of why this needed to happen with your specific light powers and
specifically on that side as opposed to on our side instead, and like whatever. But that's fine.
So I guess you just suspension of disbelief is just not a not a thing for you.
It's not
huh?
possible for me. Well, no, but that's not true because it can happen as long as I'm emotionally connected, and I wasn't. So
I feel you.
things that worked that were very surprising, and we've already talked about it, was like the musical moments. I like it should have not worked, but it was so funny to me.
I'm just gonna talk with you, if that's
Please,
okay.
please. No, you have to get inspired.
I appreciated that it was like the musical island was like all in like recitative, because
Recitative,
if it would have been like super melodic,
In like
I feel like it
rhymey.
could have been like, ugh. But like
Yes.
because like, that sort of like Gilbert and Sullivan like style of recitative like talking is like
For those of you that
already silly.
Yes.
It's just already silly because you're like, why are you doing that?
This is so because but really you're right, because like in musicals in general, I think that recitative is just inherently silly.
Yeah, it's
which
just
is funny
it's a
because
little...
it's usually used in like very dramatic musicals like
Yes,
Les
yeah, I was gonna
Mis
say.
and Miss
Mhm.
Saigon. Like it's
any
just
sort
like,
of like contemporary like opera or operetta.
Look as if you've seen a ghost.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a good example from Miss Saigon. It's just like you can't have my son. You have not touched my child. I'm sorry. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that this style makes it work much better. I'm so sorry. I have a gardener right outside my window. He's just like, I think taking the tube like and putting it directly
Into
in my
your window.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you doing a podcast? Okay, he heard me. He's
gone.
He's
He quit.
crying now. He's crying. I made fun of him. He's like, I was just trying to blow your leaves.
I was trying to prune your
Yeah. I'll pick those two. If I get inspired, I'll let you know. But those are the first
Great.
two that came to mind. What about you guys?
Go ahead, Dino. What did you like? What didn't you like?
I loved the fight choreography.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, there's some
I
cool
thought
stuff.
it was so well done and crisp. The different ways they help each other out, and really
Totally.
in particular when they're trying to hone their skills, and the three of them are practicing in the ship. I thought that was a really great sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Of them getting comfortable with the timing of things, and then it was even more thrilling to watch it go wrong.
Mhm.
Totally.
In the middle of high stakes moments and having
Yes, you're like, oh no, why is Kamala there instead? No.
right.
It was a smart writing choice because I don't think it would have been enough, like just to have the three of them together because they all share like similar powers.
Right.
It wouldn't have been enough.
Attaching them in that way ups the stakes and
yeah, and connects them emotionally too because they have to work together.
Right.
Because they could have just as easily have been like, "You stay home, Kamala. We figured this out."
The scene and the first time it happens. Oh my god!
Have you got something to drink? Are you okay?
I'm just so choked up about that.
But the scene where they're switching back and forth from space to Kamala's house and
oh yeah, just pure chaos.
What is going on?
Chaos.
Yeah, no, that was really great. Actually, I have to say a lot of the visuals, which I was surprised a couple reviews really hammered the movie for visuals, and I thought they were some of the better ones in recent.
Yeah, so did I.
I thought it was a very good looking movie.
Mm-hmm.
All of the planets looked vibrant and somewhat different than stuff we've seen before, which was my big issue. And well, it's not big. I don't have any big issues with this movie, but my
your medium issue.
My medium issue with this movie, to no one's surprise, probably,
is that you hate women.
No, that's you, Daniel.
The female race. No. The villain,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Darben
that's fair.
played
That's
She
fair.
didn't work for you.
Zaw Ashton, which I did not know this. She's married to Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just found that out like probably moments before.
Yeah, I was 2 days old when I 2
Same.
days ago old when I found that out.
Well, I will admit, like, just like, without seeing them together, or having seen what their banter is like, they'd seem like it would be like an odd couple.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea. I can't speak to that.
I bet they have a great time on the sack, though.
Okay.
Oh my god, Daniel.
Okay.
Yowzers!
What about her?
This show is
didn't
for
work for you?
children.
I didn't care.
Okay, sure.
I
Yeah.
just didn't care.
I understand.
I
Or you didn't feel like
I
threatened
thought
by
the
her.
idea of healing Hala, the homeworld of the Kree.
Yeah,
That's a good storyline. That's
Totally.
Yeah, for sure.
They set that up in about 5 minutes.
it was very quick. Yeah,
and also tried to imbue Carol with this guilt about destroying the
Annihilator.
Supreme Intelligence.
what have I done?
And then creating the Kree Civil War, but there
the
wasn't
fact that we
enough.
didn't even see, we really barely even saw,
Hala.
or did we see? We didn't even see little bips and boops about the Civil War, right? Like they just talked about it.
No, I mean
No.
we barely even see Hala until the end, really.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I thought her carrying that guilt, I thought that's a really great thread to pull on, and
Heavy.
They didn't really do all that
Spend
much
much
with it. She
time.
resolves it.
Yeah.
But they
it's
do
like,
it.
oh,
With
I
a
just
few
gotta
lines.
restart the.
They do it with a few lines of dialogue, and then.
So can I?
is
I have
resolved
to
in the priest.
confess. I have to confess something to both of you. I didn't tell you this,
Okay.
Daniel, after the movie because I wanted to tell you here.
She's a lesbian.
So
She's-
I decided to do it right now here on the podcast. No, when the first time that what's the villain's
Darben.
name? Darben. The
Mhm.
first time that Darben said, "Our son is dying,"
Oh,
I
did you
thought
think it was
that
like
she was
legit
talking
her
about
son?
a physical person.
Like,
So-
that's why you're doing.
So
this?
I was like, okay, I can feel that. But then I was like, certain things were said there. I was like, what the hell? And then, and then obviously at the end it was, the actual son.
Wow, so you went the entire movie.
I went a
Wow.
very large
Almost.
chunk of almost the whole movie,
Interesting.
be just
Oh
being
my
like,
God.
well, because then I was like, well, why aren't they showing him?
My God.
I guess I just
So
like,
you really thought it was like Miss Saigon. She's like, I swear I'd give my life for you.
yeah. I was like, I don't know, that felt like more emotional to me than. I mean, I know obviously the sun is important. We need
Kind
it
of a
to
big deal,
survive.
yeah.
But I don't know. I guess I was just trying to imbue her with like more like emotional drive. So
Yeah, fine.
Yeah. 'cause
so if you also want to do that to make her a better character, it's a suggestion that I'm giving you now to watch it
She
next
has a
time.
child, yeah.
But no, yeah,
Um,
you bring it up, but that is an interesting thing, though, too, because yeah, she doesn't really have any. She has, I mean, they don't
Same
really
Hala,
make it
and-
apparent what her connection is to the planet, other than it is her home planet. Like we don't
Yeah.
have like a family,
like-
we don't
Well,
have a loved
and-
one, or
And she's the embodiment of Kree hatred for what they perceive to be a slight, that Miss Marvel committed. Well,
Yeah.
more than a slight. I mean, she wiped out the Supreme Intelligence and the leadership structure collapsed.
Yeah. So
And,
in the comics,
which I'm sure.
this character is there. It's a man.
Oh,
They gender swapped it. Yeah, they gender swapped it. Darben is kind of a boring antagonist in the books, from what I've read. She's the co-leader of the Kree Empire, and yeah, she fights with Monica Rambeau, who is taking the helm of Captain Marvel in that run.
Oh, interesting.
As well as Carol when she's in her post-captain guise as binary, which I briefly talked about before. So, yeah, I thought it was an interesting choice to have this be the big bad. But
And now she's gone.
Well, and it just kind of felt, I mean, a different set of circumstances, but it kind of felt like a redo of Ronin a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
that checks out.
I mean,
More or
but they
less.
are the same in that they're both generals in the
Mhm.
Kree. I mean, I think she even references, not by name, but she references her predecessor at one point.
Yes.
And he was although the difference between him and her is that he was trying he like broke off and kind of was doing his own thing.
Yeah,
like,
no,
he's
he was a radical.
right. He's
And
like,
then
I'm
he
going to take the
also-
Power Stone for myself. Suck
Right,
my
he also
balls.
served the purpose of kind of setting up Thanos a bit.
Mhm.
Anyway, I think she's very, I think she's a very gifted actor, and I think under better circumstances they could have given her some real good material to work with. I just felt like she was kind of the vehicle to bring the three of them together and to help resolve Carol's guilty conscience, which again I don't think we spent enough time on.
Yeah, I
really
think
across the board, because like we resolved the tinges of animosity between her and Monica fairly quickly as
mhm.
well. And I mean,
And-
that's an issue of abandonment almost. It's like you
Sure.
left.
Yeah, big
and
time.
I don't think I don't think they explored it as well as they could have.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt a little surfacey. And we also got very surfacey lesbian vibes.
It was definitely not a straight friendship going on there.
I think that there might be some muff diving going
Go
on.
to our queer correspondent, Alyssa Simmons. Alyssa, what did you see in that interaction?
Yeah.
That
Speaking
that hug was about 5 seconds too long to be two straight people hugging each
Mhm.
other.
No,
That's all I'll say on the matter.
There was some like looking into the eyes without blinking, arm
Yeah, I mean,
squeezing.
Valkyrie, like, she's straight up like already out. We have that.
Right.
That's been confirmed for
Oh yeah, in Love and
particularly
Thunder, she
in
was
the
like,
MCU. Yeah, like, yeah, the biggest thing, like Taika Waititi, like, said in an interview after that movie, he was like, if I could do anything again, I would have Valkyrie like kiss that girl in
Oh,
that
right.
big in that big scene, in a similar way to the way Thor would just like do that,
Sure.
But
That's
yeah, I
true.
mean, Carol Danvers is bisexual in the comics. She dates men and women.
Oh my god.
Will they do anything other than like a lingering hug?
Well, I
You
don't
don't
know.
think so?
You don't know?
No. I don't have any faith or hope that they will do the right thing in that regard.
Oh jeez. I think that they're really like, oh my god, slower than Caltrans in
They're
California.
going to do it. No, this
They
is
are
my
setting
prediction.
the foundations for
This is my prediction. It's going to happen,
same.
but it's going to be in the middle of the giant intergalactic fight in Secret Wars,
Absolutely.
and it's going to
Blink
be
if you
buried
miss it.
under the Sony and Fox characters, and you're going to see it like off in the corner, and
Yep.
there's just going to be so much going on that you have to pause the movie, zoom in 20 times.
The same way they screwed
Exactly,
us in Star Wars.
the
Rise of
background
Skywalker.
the background reunion kiss in Star Wars.
Yes.
like-
It's like, who are those people?
Who the hell cares?
We don't even know who they are.
We literally don't even know who they are, but like, good for them.
Well, there
Good
was
for
the
those
Scottish
lesbians.
lady, who I don't remember her name.
We
but,
did get more queerness in what was it? Andor?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much the gayest thing we've
Andor's got
gotten.
some-
That's
Not
how
to-
that's how they're marketing it.
Not to branch
Andor
out,
is
Andor's
the
got
gayest.
Andor.
some
Pretty much the gayest Star Wars
some
you can.
fascinating sexuality stuff going on there with the kind of stalker vibe,
In
but not
what?
stalker because they're kind of into each other. But
like the
In,
Kamala Khan and Martin.
no. I'm talking about. Sorry, I was talking about Andor.
He went back to Andor.
Oh yeah. There was a little bit. There was a little creepy
There's some
vibes
odd
for
stuff
sure.
going on there. But,
Super duper creepy vibes. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I disagree with you, Alyssa. I think we will see Captain Marvel and Valkyrie
You do?
embrace one another in the corner of the giant fight in the middle of Civil
Easily.
Super blurred and in the background, completely undistinguishable.
Buried by
but
every
they
sound
will be
effect
there.
But then they
imaginable
can
and
say that they
every
did it.
superhero who has ever been on screen.
Our just our diet allies, Disney.
No,
yeah.
I also don't think that that's like super necessary in this storytelling, because that's like so not what it's about. But
Mhm.
I do think, as we have explored in a bajillion of other storytellings, like obviously love can motivate people to do really great or really terrible things.
Yep.
So I always think that's an interesting thing to explore.
We're also finding that love in this multiverse can be nexus events, which is interesting. Like,
Yeah.
maybe in this universe it's a or it's a, or it's also a what do they call them? I think it's been called different things in different movies, but like
the
when
fixed point, is that what you're talking about?
when a similar thing happens in each universe, like Spidey and
Tony Stark dying.
Tony Stark dying, exactly. Those things, like, these people will always fall in
Christine
love
dying.
because
Christine, yeah.
love
The
transcends
saddest
all
what if
universes.
episode
Oh my God.
from season 1.
Oh God, yeah, that was so sad. So excited for season 2, by the way. The Christmas
one.
Yeah, it's gonna be Christmas Eve probably. I don't know. It's coming out this holiday season.
All right. Well, was that
lesbians.
the only thing that you felt like kind of bugged you? Do you know?
No.
The lesbians.
Okay, carry on. No,
And
the
keep in mind,
villain.
these are minor. These are. I do need to preface it. These are minor gripes. Again, I did enjoy the movie.
Yeah, you had fun. You even said that right
yeah.
after you got out.
I feel like even on the
woman.
heels of Secret Invasion, that Nick Fury. I miss old Nick Fury.
I will admit
who could throw jabs and be comical because it's Samuel L. Jackson, but I'm missing some of the gravitas.
this felt a little more cute.
He's done this several times in the recent past, and it's I don't know.
I
It's
will
taking
admit
some
that
of
this
his
was
edge
probably
away.
a little more truer to form than Secret Invasion was,
Yeah, for sure.
but it still felt a little more cutesy than we're used to, maybe.
Yeah, like and maybe that just comes with everything he's been through, being snapped away, and
Yeah.
But I just remember Infinity Saga, Nick Fury, like Falcon Winter Soldier, or
Sure.
not Falcon Winter Soldier, just Captain America Winter Soldier. I kind of miss that Nick a little bit, but I think that's a minor thing, and Samuel Jackson can play it however he wants.
Yeah.
He's very, very good. I kind of laughed because when we get to the climax of the movie and Dar-Ben's trying to steal the sun from our solar system, Earth has been through a lot of stuff, so I write off the lack of just reaction to what was happening as
general
just another day.
Public worry.
Here we go again.
Even when they evacuate the Saber Station and land on Manhattan, there's no police. There's no. It's
nobody cares.
And the sun is being sucked away, and there's just really not a whole lot of panic about it. And
we're so busy.
I don't know what to make of that. I'm just like, huh. It just no one's terribly concerned. And
honestly, if in Secret Invasion was about like the Flurkins instead, I feel like
give me a whole show about the whole Flurkin family now.
Better, yeah.
Yeah.
Because truly, like if they breed that fast, yikes.
And I'm contradicting myself. Well, I'm not. We didn't have a podcast at the time some of these other movies came out, but a lot of the time when Earth is threatened, you do see that as an opportunity for other heroes to mobilize, and there are exceptions going back through the 30-something movies, but just in a situation like this, I'm like, it just felt it didn't feel like there was any real danger.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I understand that.
I totally get that.
On a micro level, definitely. Like I was saying with the fight scenes, like they all felt very dangerous and unpredictable and high stakes. But I think the overarching story was kind of.
Yeah, and I don't feel like we're desensitized because I will still watch movies and feel like anxiety, like, oh God, are they going to make it through this? You know, but like it wasn't for this one.
Well,
it
like
was
the
just
first, like I think about the first Avengers movie when they start getting their asses kicked by
Mhm.
the Chitauri and Tony flies the missile up through the portal. Like that's still like
yeah, dramatic stuff.
feels real and
Emotionally weighted.
It's interspersed with regular people being very panicked and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But yeah, the emotional connection wasn't quite there. Like there was a scene with the Carol Danvers where she Danvers, I said like
Carol Danvers.
So many syllables.
Carol Danvers.
Daniverse of Madness.
Yes, that's right. The Daniverse of Madness. Where she kind of they crash landed on some other random planet. After they warped away from the musical planet.
Mm-hmm.
And she was having this dramatic moment where she was kind of revealing some things and she was like crying.
Yeah.
And I just didn't I didn't feel connected
came out of
to
nowhere.
it. It did. It felt like it was
nowhere,
Yeah,
but it
I
just-
think it's
there was some
also
cut
really
things.
difficult with a character like Carol Danvers.
where she's shown like little
Where-
to no emotion.
Yeah, it has been very. I mean, this is partially the way the character is written, and also partially just sort of Brie Larson's general energy,
Vibe.
which isn't a bad thing at all. But
No.
it is very stoic, robotic. This is the fact. This is what we need to do.
This
I'm
is
going
what
to
your
do
mom
that.
talked about.
Here we go. Yeah, that was my mom's main review at the end of the movie. She was like, I think that maybe Brie Larson, that's her flavor.
It's just her one.
They
I
just-
liked
my-
her better in
Johnny
this one.
one note.
Yeah,
I-
my
I-
family just watched her in Lessons in Chemistry. So they
Oh,
were
okay.
just like, it's the exact same performance, but in a different time period with
Different-
different hair and clothes.
Yeah, right.
I will say I liked her better in this one than the first one. Like
I agree.
I like
Yeah.
that they gave
Yeah,
her
and
a little-
I don't dislike the character at all. I just think
No.
that it is challenging because, like, as you said at the beginning, Daniel, like, she still doesn't know, like,
she
she doesn't
is.
have most of her memories
Right.
from her life prior to becoming Captain Marvel, getting powers.
Yeah.
So that's hard to deal with.
It would have been really interesting to see. I mean, and maybe it would have been a little bit too much of a tonal shift, but
To have her like actually get her memories back or something.
at least access a portion of it and see like how much it changes her. That would be neat.
Yeah.
But we didn't see that.
We didn't. You're right.
We didn't. Although I think that would have made a movie that was like a fairly simple movie into something more complicated than it needed to be, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think it really it seemed to serve the purpose. You know, I think it served its purpose, which, you know, was to bring the characters together in a fun way. Although now they're seemingly not connected physically anymore. Emotionally, though, they do, you know, now they're friends. And I'm a little confused by the end too, as far as the when they were moving. Did they move Kamala's family out to
Louisiana.
Rambeau's old house?
Mhm.
Is that what I was seeing, or no?
Yeah.
Because I
think
was a little
so.
confused by that.
I think so. So
Are they gonna like
that-
live together now? Are they they're like Captain Marvel and Kamala are like gonna live in the same
I mean, I think Captain Marvel lives in space, but
and
yeah,
like
she
that-
doesn't.
thing, but-
She doesn't
Yeah, I
really live
guess
on
that's
Earth
probably
all the
true.
time.
And
I
apparently
guess.
Monica's not gonna be using that house anytime soon.
But yeah, it does definitely make some interesting things because like Kamala's like story is always in New Jersey
Yeah, so what the
in
heck?
the comics. So this is like an interesting kind of turn.
It is very interesting. I mean, I wonder. Well, and I have we gotten any confirmation about like what the future of her show is? Was it a one
Ms.
season
Marvel?
wonder? Yeah,
I don't think they've made any sort of announcements.
Yeah, so I am curious whether or not, but she's gotten such a good response from what I understand from this film. Maybe they might consider,
Yeah, maybe they will, or they just obviously know she's going on into other stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting that this movie they really they doubled down on the importance of her bangles, and
Yeah, I was actually just gonna bring that up. The bangles,
we now know they call them quantum
quantum bands.
quantum bands,
Which
really makes you think about. I go back all the way to Shang-Chi and the rings perhaps being some kind of quantum device, and then
part of the same material, like same
it's also, I also like that right now it's like there's still this sort of like mystical extraterrestrial thing around them. We don't really know where they come from, which is fun.
Yeah. And now also seeing that now that Kamala has like gone through her, like her mutant change has been triggered, she doesn't necessarily need the bangle to do what she does. Because like, didn't she have it off for that like final scene? It was like kind of using her giant hand. What do they call that? Beginning.
Yeah. I think she still needs the cuff.
Still needs it.
Yeah.
But like, she didn't have it on for that moment. Am I crazy?
I think she had one of them on.
No, because she had, remembered like Monica was given both of them to do her crazy magic at the end, and then she got sorry.
Well,
we do
know based on the end of Miss Marvel series that like genetically she's not human, she's a mutant,
right?
So yeah, it appears that you're right. She didn't have the bangle on, so yes, she has some powers without it, but I think everything is enhanced
I don't think
when
she can do the quantum level stuff with.
Yeah, maybe that's
Right.
it's. Maybe you're right.
Like,
it's like a.
I don't know, but maybe again between the 9 rings and these quantum bands.
Yeah.
These are kind of like infinity stones for.
I was just going to say
travel or altering.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about who has worn these quantum bands in, in the
a little
comics.
history lesson, that would be lovely.
So they've been passed through many hands, the bears often taking up the altruistic mantle of protector of the universe.
Many wrists, you mean?
Yeah, sure. Marvel was briefly among the band's possessors, but they've most famously been used by the superhero Quasar, aka Wendell Vaughn, who's later an Avenger, as well as the Quasar name and mission were eventually taken up by Marvel's daughter, Phyla Vell, who also has worn the mantle of Captain Marvel in the comics. So why is this piece of information intriguing? Wendell Vaughn has not been introduced into the MCU, but Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 brought in Phyla, that little girl, the Star Children.
Right.
She joined Rocket's new incarnation of the Guardians. So in that post-credit scene when that new group of Guardians is running, Phyla is in there.
Oh my!
So
God.
is potentially Phyla becoming MCU's Quasar? Is what the same?
Is that the same file? I mean, assumedly.
Yes, that's Phyla. That's the character.
Wow. So remind me again. So Phyla is
Marvel's daughter.
Wow. So, but is she Marvel's daughter also in the MCU, or is that been?
Well, that's what we don't know because
Marvel died
Wendell Vaughn has not been introduced in the original Marvel. Is not in the MCU.
Well, I mean, we saw her in like flashbacks in Captain Marvel, right? No?
Not this Marvel.
Oh, different.
Yeah, the original Marvel was a man.
No relation.
They changed it for Captain Marvel. They made it a woman.
Got it.
So yeah, that's
Very interesting.
I think we're definitely seeing some version of Quasar
Interesting.
joining the MCU, which is cool.
Very intriguing.
Well, the whole idea in this movie, going back to the quantum stuff of using these jump points and being over to, I guess, being able to overload a jump point.
Yeah, that was a fun new rule that they
And-
added.
Being able to tear a hole in space-time. And seemingly, you can trigger an incursion that way. And for those of you, we're using a lot of words. We've talked about incursions a lot, and they really started to come up in Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of an incursion is two universes colliding, and
They're also using a lot of different words for like their realms, universes.
Yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
ultimately, this is
realities.
just purely my prediction. I think they've opened up this multiverse, right? All these different realms, planets, dimensions, all this stuff. There's going to be a gigantic multiversal war,
Right.
which ultimately is going to destroy the multiverse, right? There's only going to be
Secret
one.
Wars.
There's only going to be one remaining, and then all of these different people are going to have to learn how to live in the one world together. So
That's gonna be neat.
that's where I think we're going.
or
Or it'll
that
be a
does-
complete garbage hole.
Secret Invasion or Secret Wars anyway in the comics. The multiverse is destroyed, and all that's left is quote unquote Battle World, which is
Right.
overseen by Doctor Doom, and
Which it sounds like that's what we're shifting to.
the consequences of all of that lead to the multiverse being reborn, but everything kind of gets
Messed up.
messed up. But yeah, I'm with you, Alyssa. I think something like that.
Yeah. DC
Could
did it
happen.
as well with the Crisis on Infinite Earths. Ultimately, everything in the multiverse busts, and then there's only one Earth Prime, the one Earth remaining.
Loki's on the other side. I can't hold her, Captain. I'm giving her all she's got.
It does feel like this was a pretty explicit reference to what the larger problem is going to be going forward, and really in the run up to Secret Wars, the rate at which incursions occur becomes too much for
Right.
the Avengers to deal with, and I've talked about it. I mean, going back a couple of years when I read the entire Hickman Avengers
Mm-hmm.
run, as time goes on and they run out of time to deal with it. We haven't seen it yet. We've seen it a bit in Loki. They touched on the idea of what it means to let timelines die or pruning timelines and the moral ramifications of that. We have yet to really see the Avengers in whatever state they're in or whatever state they will be, and we've yet to see them have to deal with
that.
being okay with letting another version of Earth die.
Yeah. Big stuff.
Or
So
their own, like dealing with their own
Watching
one dying.
themselves die. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. How dramatic.
So if you want to really up the stakes, I think they've laid the groundwork for that, and I think it's coming. But
I think
Yeah.
you're right too. And it does sound like there was not one mention, not even a whiff of Kang in this film.
well, they
Nope.
wouldn't. They wouldn't know who he is, though.
No,
Right.
that wouldn't be on their trajectory at all.
Which again, within hours, I mean, because Loki came out the night the Marvels
Same
debuted.
night. Same night as my
They've left
birthday.
themselves leeway.
Yes.
They have.
Which is very smart.
I was kind of like I at first I was like no they're not I mean like but it is becoming more and more apparent that they are not just inching their way but like and we've gotten a lot of news I think it's been almost confirmed that not just and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not happening but the writer and director
Yeah.
of
So
the Kang
Dustin,
Dynasty
yeah, Dustin Daniel Cretton is going to focus on Shang-Chi 2.
Mhm.
And then Jeff Loveness, who wrote Quantumania, he was responsible for writing Kang Dynasty. The rumor was he was asked to step away because they are pivoting away from Kang.
Yeah.
And not because Quantumanium sucked.
Yeah,
But-
no, I think it's a smart idea on their end to leave their options open because we don't know what's happening.
And they could easily at
And,
this point swerve right back into Kang. again
Sure,
if they,
sure.
if it, for whatever reason somehow
But-
it.
You know, they also have the ability right now to kind of take a step back and say, like, okay, is this exactly where we want all these properties to head?
This is a very.
Is this
delicate
the
balance.
best idea for all of the many reasons, you know? Also,
yes.
the Marvels, I think is the first Marvel movie to truly pass the Bechdel test.
The Bechdel test. I said that in the middle of it. I was like, I think this passed the Bechdel test.
There are definitely scenes in other Marvel movies that scene would be considered passing the Bechdel test, but I
Mhm.
think this is the first.
For those that don't know, what is the Bechdel test?
Oh yeah, well you have to go back and listen to our whole episode where we talked about that for like 18 years.
We did talk about it a lot.
It's one of our very first episodes. The Bechdel test is a measure of the representation of women in film and other fiction. So it has to pass all three criteria. The movie has to have at least 2 women in it.
Got that.
Number 2, who talk to each other.
Yep, they do that.
Number 3, about something other than a man.
And they also do that.
So the whole
Yeah,
the
they're-
whole movie passes the Bechdel test, which
Because
is really
they're
cool.
like even the times when the 2 women are talking or the 3 women are talking, they're not
Mhm.
talking about some other dude.
No, never. They're talking
Yeah.
about saving the
Each
world,
other.
saving stuff.
I guess there are a lot of men in the world, but But even still, I think it does pass the Bechdel test, which is great. Good
Yeah.
job. Good job, Marvel.
Good job, Marvels.
And now I'm frustrated. I'm angry
Okay.
because we have spent this entire hour
Mm.
and we have not discussed the fact that we saw King Beast.
Well, we were
Well, yes, 'cause
waiting
that happens
until
at
the
the end
end.
of the
It's
movie.
it's the post-credit scene.
I know, but I want to talk about it now. I want to talk
Well,
about it
now is the time because we've been talking for an hour. So now is the time.
Oh man, guys. I just like I was sitting next to Alyssa. I saw like a blue furry arm. I was like, oh my god, is that the Beast? Oh
Oh,
my!
you hear the voice. It's like, oh, that's Kelsey.
Oh, it's
Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh.
I had almost forgot. I was like, Kelsey Grammer played the fucking Beast.
He
Oh
sure
my
did,
god!
and here he is again.
Whoa.
And they seemingly used X-Men Last Stand was the last time we saw Kelsey Grammer's beat. Well, in full. He had a cameo in Days of Future Past. But,
True.
Mhm.
He was wearing practical makeup and
Yes.
a suit. Here they used what looked like they've used previously, but it really reminded me of Zeb in
Totally.
Mandalorian.
Yes,
Mhm.
how they did Zeb. Totally.
Probably a cross between animation and motion
CG.
capture.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mhm.
But
I believe it.
wow.
But wow.
Yeah,
So-
so obviously Monica is now somewhere
X-Men.
else. We don't exactly know where. But she's with someone who she thinks is her mother, but it's someone in the binary suit.
Wow. And so now what I asked this question at the end of the movie with Alyssa, and I'm still a little confused. Because her answer was not sufficient. No,
Okay.
that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
Good. Very good.
Good, nice, great. But so I think we it's pretty clear that they're in the Fox universe.
Maybe.
But like the right, I guess it's a maybe because or something that's like the Fox universe.
Yeah.
Because as we're aware of, all the Fox movies that have been made so far, it's been a little bit fraught with trying to,
Oh, the X-Men timeline is effed.
yeah, it's totally completely
Messed up.
effed.
Mhm.
So it's like, where and when does this take place?
We definitely
and
don't know.
yeah,
right
and
now.
are we going to like is it will we ever even get an explanation of like which of the Fox movies are canon and which ones aren't?
I think Deadpool is actually going to explicitly
Yeah,
answer
I do
that
too,
question.
for
I
sure.
think you're right too. I really hope that's the
Because
case.
we've already seen images of Hugh Jackman wearing a comic Wolverine suit.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
beast doesn't look like the Last Stand beast. This looks like comic book Hank McCoy.
Yes, totally.
I think we're going to get a very explicit. Deadpool looks into the camera and says which movies matter and which ones don't.
Which would be so funny. So whether or not that means we are in a completely different universe, like we're not in the exact universe that like when we were watching the film, we weren't looking at this
I think we're probably in a separate one.
In a separate one that's very, very much like it, but different. Yeah. But one that has been perfectly pruned to now fit this new MCU.
Yes.
Yeah. Sure.
But so much alike that you don't have to go back and do any sort of origin building.
Yeah,
It's
correct.
like,
because we can see lots of new mutants, and then also have some other ones that are damn it. Some of our other friends who we've
are stabbing me and some are freezing me.
Oh boy.
I'm so excited and
thrilled.
Yeah.
But we're not going to get to see that movie until when is it, next summer?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez.
Also, backtracking a little bit, we had a scene with Kamala finding Kate Bishop.
Oh, right.
Which, as we've suspected, they're building their Young Avengers or champions. I'm not exactly sure what they're going to call them.
Yeah, they didn't say the name yet.
But so we know for sure on this roster we've got now Kamala and Kate Bishop.
Confirmed.
Cassie Lang. We've got
unconfirmed.
Yeah, I mean those are not confirmed, but I'm saying these are all characters that they have
used.
That are now, this is where it's going.
They exist.
We've got
Isaiah Bradley.
Yes, Eli.
Oh, sorry, Eli.
Bradley. Isaiah's grandson.
Right.
We have got Ironheart, who we met in Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
We have America Chavez, who we met in Multiverse of Madness.
I mean, and also in Wakanda Forever, his son.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, I don't know that he ever was a Young Avenger. Was he?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so. But I mean, the MCU takes liberties.
Yeah, could be. Who knows? And
so little Black Panther,
some sort of multiversal incarnation of Wanda and Vision's kids.
Sure.
Billy and
that's
Tommy.
Gonna be the most challenging to make sense, because I mean,
I don't think so though, because we learned in Multiverse of Madness that her children actually exist in other universes
somewhere out there. Yeah, for sure. So, they would just have to. Yeah, they would have to jump universes to find them and then bring them to. I mean, that would be a fun story. If maybe they're like the MacGuffin of the story. Like they need to find those kids to do something.
Yeah. Potentially even, Spider-Man might join Miles Morales Spider-Man, maybe.
Yeah, could be.
And even Spider-Man's good pal Ned. He's in the comics. So lots of options there. We've kind of been feeling them sprinkling in these.
Although our Ned now
characters.
doesn't know about Peter anymore.
Yeah, but it could be different Ned.
Different Ned. Different Ned, different stories.
Yeah. So that's exciting and fun. Who knows if they'll actually call them the Young Avengers or if they'll do the Champions, which was like kind of a famous young hero team up storyline. So
yeah, there was two fairly heavy ball drops for a somewhat lighthearted, easy film.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
As we get into next year, And with Fantastic Four coming, like we're gonna have.
And we have a freaking lead finally, Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, look at that.
Very exciting.
It's still rumored to be Vanessa Kirby playing Sue Storm, which awesome.
And I know that they said they were looking to cast like an older family as opposed to how it's usually done. And Pedro is in his 50s, so I mean,
So yes, that checks out.
That
And
that's
worth
happening,
noting that they're setting the movie back in the 1960s.
which is
Right.
also interesting.
So they're going to be either time hopping or universe hopping.
And it might who knows, because of their ages, it might be that they're not doing origin story.
No, I don't believe it is one.
Yeah,
I
they're
think
going to
they're
skip
already
the
who they are.
origins. That's fine.
It is.
It's fine.
We've seen it. We know.
We know
Well,
it.
Space accident. We get it.
Space.
That's it. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, give us a little flashback. That'll be fine. But yeah,
Well,
lots of.
We've
lots
been
of
talking for a
villain
really
things
long
happening.
time. Anything else y'all want to say?
You got what you wanted, Andrew Lloyd Webber. You made it into a Marvel movie.
He did it. He freaking
You
did
finally
it.
did it.
Oh man, I wonder how much money they made. I just like, oh god, I
You mean how much money like they charged him to use the song?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
that
yeah.
He charged them.
Yeah, he charged that. I mean, it's the Barbra Streisand recording
Version. So she probably also made a little
Oh, she certainly
chunk.
made
Or
money
which label?
from that.
Which label?
Yeah,
it
they
is.
could have chosen like a lot of different versions, but they chose probably the most expensive version.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
Assumedly. Babs doesn't come cheap.
And she shouldn't.
That's right. Because she's Babs. Damn it.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know what else to say other than what a fun time.
a good time.
I've had.
great. Well, seemingly we don't have a ton to cover coming up in
What
the
If?
next like month. We've got What If coming
Wait,
out
wait,
in
wait,
about a
that's-
month from now.
Yeah, about a
What
month from now.
if we covered what if?
So don't know what you'll be hearing from us next,
I
but
haven't decided.
but for
We'll
sure,
probably do that.
What If in a month.
Yeah, I think you can expect a couple episodes talking about that show because I
Oh, yeah,
really
absolutely.
really enjoyed the first.
Yeah, season 1 was awesome. The episode list for season 2 is already out, so if you haven't seen that yet,
I haven't
peruse
yet,
that
no.
and get yourself excited.
Mm.
All right, well, thanks for listening. If you somehow got this far, buy yourself a cookie.
Yes.
On us.
On us.
You can
Venmo
Venmo
request. Us.
if you can find us.
Yeah, good luck. All right, this is Inside the Tauntaun. I'm Alyssa Simmons.
And I'm Daniel Dawson.
And I'm Dino Nicaidros.
May the force be with you.
Always.
Inside the Tauntaun podcast. Please like and subscribe.